Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Elite Era podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mystic, and then today on this edition of the show, we are going to be reviewing Wrestlemania 35. Just got over with a few hours ago. Very, very, very fun show. It was very entertaining. As long as it was about 7.5 hours. Still, I felt very entertained. Didn't feel like 7.5 hours at all, to be honest. Maybe just because of the time zone I'm in. I'm sure all you British people and people on the East Coast must have had it rough. Probably fell asleep by then. But this show was very fun. A lot of titles changing hands. A lot of titles. I think there was 8 in total or something like that. And we'll count them as we go match by match. But it was very surprising show. A lot of unexpected things happened, and there was what might have seemed like a botch in the main event, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But first, we got to talk about the 2-hour kickoff show, which had 4 matches on. It had the Cruiserweight title match, the 2 Battle Royals, and the Raw Tag Team Championship match. And what we had first was the Cruiserweight Championship match between Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy. And, well, this happened almost 12 hours ago now. So it's not fresh in the mind now, but from what I remember, it was an okay match. It was, in front of not big of a crowd, little crowd audiences, which isn't the performer's fault. The arena wasn't even full or anything like that. It was still really earlier in the day. But I thought they had what was a pretty good match, and it had Tony Nese win. Yeah, Tony Nese actually won the Cruiserweight Championship, which I wasn't really predicting because, I thought Buddy Murphy has been a very strong champion as of late. But seeing this, it actually made me think, and now I think that Buddy Murphy might actually go up to the main roster. I think it's going to be an international superstar shakeup on next week's Raw and SmackDown. And, you can't get more international than Buddy Murphy. He's from Australia. So maybe they can bring him up to Raw or SmackDown, just like they did to Mustafa. That would be great. He's, besides Mustafa, he was the best wrestler on 205 Live, and he was also very entertaining. So it would be great to see him on Raw or SmackDown, depending on what show they might put him in. And then, and this really gets a little bit weird, we had the women's battle royal match won by Carmella. Asuka, I guess the story of this match was mainly between the Riot Squad, Asuka, Fire and Desire, and then, Carmella did nothing. But it was between those three like factions, I guess. Riot Squad went crazy, took out a lot of people, and then they got taken out, and then Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville took out a lot of people, and they got taken out. And then we had the final 3 of Asuka, Sarah Logan, and Sonya Deville. They went at it for a little bit. Sonya got thrown over by, I think it was Asuka, and then Sarah Logan threw out Asuka, which is, I just don't understand. Who came up with that decision. Asuka should have won the whole thing, in my opinion, but yeah, Sarah Logan threw her out. She starts celebrating. She thinks she's won, and Carmella comes out. She was never eliminated. She comes in, and then she takes out Sarah Logan. Which I think this is the copy for copy, the exact same thing that happened last year. I think it was Bayley. Bayley eliminated somebody, and she thought she won, and then Naomi came out from outside and won. So it was just a copy and paste from last year. It was dumb. Asuka should have won. They took away her title match. She was really nothing on the show. Her and Kevin Owens, who was going to be in a title match, and now that dude wasn't even on the show, which was sucks to see, but that's just how things happen. But sorry about that. And then moving on, we had the men's battle royal match, which was actually pretty entertaining. Michael Shea and Colin Jost, his dudes were, as much as, we don't really like having celebrities and stuff be at WrestleMania, this was the kickoff show. It was a battle royal that doesn't mean much. it was fine. It was pretty fun for what they did in there. And what they did was, very early on in the match, they hit under the ring. Basically, Braun cleared house. It got down to the Braun and the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys were trying to eliminate Braun. They were on the apron and they were trying to tip Braun over the ropes. And then the two Saturday Night Live guys came out. They tried tipping over Braun. Braun shook them off. He threw out the Hardys. So it's just those three left in the ring. Michael Che tried running away, but Braun got him and he beat him up a little bit and threw him out. And then it was just down to him and Colin Jost. And then Colin Jost actually kind of scared me here. I thought he might have actually won the match because Braun went for a big boot, which Colin Jost got out of the way. Braun went over the top rope and he looked like he was going to fall. And Colin Jost picked up one of his legs and tried throwing him out. But no, Braun countered. He picked him up in the power slam position and he just threw him to the outside. With a bunch of other wrestlers who had gotten eliminated, he threw him on top of all them, and Braun Strowman wins the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, which was whatever. I guess it doesn't really mean much, like I said. And the final match on the kickoff show was the recently announced. This was only announced not even. I think it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. It was a really late addition to the card. Was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between Hawkins and Ryder and the Revival. Hawkins came in here with a losing streak of 269 losses in a row. And then what they had was just a pretty basic match, building up to the Hawkins hot tag. He came in, he wrecked house, the Revival got the upper hand, but then Hawkins got a surprise roll-up for the win, and Hawkins and Ryder became the new the Raw Tag Team Champions, which was, and thus breaking Hawkins' losing streak, which is fine. I don't expect their title reign to last long, but I guess it was a cool moment for them. They're both from the New York area, even though this isn't in New York, but WWE wants you to think it is. They're both from that area, and it was just cool seeing them get a moment. And that was the second title change of the show. Two title changes in the first 2 hours on the kickoff, which was kind of weird. And speaking of title changes, we go on to the opening of the show. We had the main show where Alexa Bliss came out. She is, of course, the host. Or first we had the America the Beautiful performance, and then Alexa came out, and her being the host, she introduces Hogan. For some reason, Hogan came out for some reason and just did his thing. I don't know, brother. Just trying to hype up the crowd, I guess. But then Paul Heyman comes out. He gets in the ring and he cuts a promo and he says if Brock Lesnar isn't going to be the main event, if he doesn't go on last, he's going on first. So Brock Lesnar comes out, and I guess this was an unexpected thing. He was really unexpected for me. We had the Universal title match first up on the card, and what happened was actually just spent too. Well, first of all, Seth Rollins, he had a pretty cool entrance with his sword that said Beast Slayer and stuff. Really cool looking sword. But the match itself, we had, before the bell even rang, we had Lesnar go on the outside as Seth was making his entrance, and he just beat the hell out of him, throwing him around the ring and just beating him up. We get to the actual match starting, and it's just more of suplexing and stuff. Brock Lesnar, after a couple of suplexes, goes for an F5. Rollins gets out of it. He pushes Brock, who collides with the ref. The ref is down for a bit. Rollins goes for a low blow. He low blows Lesnar, and then he hits a curb stomp, and then another curb stomp, and then the final third curb stomp, and he goes for the pin, and he actually pins Brock Lesnar, and he wins the Universal title, which is fantastic to see because nobody likes seeing Brock Lesnar on Raw. We all wanted him to lose that title, and it was actually because of the three main matches. I guess the three main events of the show were the Universal title match, this one, the WWE Kofi and Bryan match, and the women's main event triple threat. And a lot of us presumed that only 2 out of 3 of the baby faces of those 3 matches were going to win. So a lot of us thought, Seth is going to lose. Brock probably is going to get a new contract or something and make more millions. And Brock is just going to retain and not be on Raw like he usually is. But no, Seth won the match here. After 3 it was a really short match too. It wasn't long at all. It was I guess you'd call it a bit of a squash, but not really. 3 finishers, a low blow and 3 finishers should have been enough to put away Brock. but it wasn't a very long match. But it was just great seeing Seth win the title because it means Brock is no longer champion. Now we're gonna have a champion on Raw, and given the way some of the later matches turned out, not really a clear contender for his championship first. Maybe if Brock wants to do more dates, he can be the first challenger. But if not, we have Roman and Finn Balor. Those are two other strong contenders I could see. Or Baron Corbin. Unfortunately, he can be a contender for the title. But it's all just going to depend on the rosters are going to look different in a few weeks from now because of the Superstar shakeup. So we'll have to see after that. Anyways, second match on the show, we had AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, a match I was looking forward to, really looking forward to, and I think this match wasn't the greatest match, but I think this match told a really good story, and I think it was just entertaining. So basically, what the story of the match was, it was AJ countering the RKO. He did every time Randy went for an RKO, AJ would find a way to counter it while pushing him off or something or the other. He would always counter the RKO until there's this one really cool sequence where Randy hit like a picture perfect RKO. It was this fantastic RKO in the middle of the ring, and Styles still kicked out, which was cool to see. And then we have Styles hit a phenomenal forearm from the ring to the outside of the ring where Randy was in, and they get back in the ring. Styles hits another phenomenal forearm, and he pins Randy for the win, which AJ not sure what he's gonna do after this. So I predicted Orton was gonna win this match just because I thought Kofi was gonna win the title. So it could give Orton a win here and set him up for a title feud with Kofi. But maybe they'll do that with AJ. Maybe AJ will go after Kofi, which spoiler, Kofi wins. And maybe that will happen. And yeah, I think that would be a pretty fun program. But third on the card, really, really, really fun match. The SmackDown Live Tag Team Fatal 4-Way match. This match was actually it was incredible. It was a good debut for Ricochet and Aleister Black. I thought they were going to win here because it was their first WrestleMania ever, but Usos had just signed a new 5-year deal, I think it was, for more money than before, so kind of hard to bet against them. But anyways, this match was fun. It was chaotic. It was fast-paced at all times. The action just never let up. We had a really, really cool and humongous-looking Tower of Doom spot. I think everybody was involved except Aleister Black, maybe. But it was a humongous Tower of Doom. Ricochet, who was at the top of the tower, did a flip out of it, of course, and landed on his feet. And I think it was Sheamus who was left lying. Ricochet went to the top, hit a 630 on Sheamus. Almost got the pin. I thought that was going to be it, but no. Everyone came in and broke it up. And then we had one of those awesome sequences which they do in a lot of like Fatal 4-Way tag team type matches where everyone just hits their finisher. One of the Usos was going up for a splash, and Cesaro would catch him out of the air with an uppercut, and then Aleister Black would hit a Black Mass, and then Shinsuke would hit the Kinshasa, and then Rusev would hit a kick, and then Ricochet would hit like this cool DDT or something, and then Sheamus would hit a brogue kick and then into super kicks, and that's how it ended up. The two Usos hit dual super kicks on Sheamus. They went up to the top, hit a double splash on Sheamus, and they pinned him to retain the tag team championships. Really fun match. I think everyone came out of this looking good, even Rusev and Nakamura, who were just a thrown together tag team. They didn't really mean much. They don't think they had a chance to win this match. They didn't come off looking like weak or anything. The Bar didn't lose anything from Sheamus getting pinned. Sheamus is established. He doesn't lose anything from doing that. And Black and Ricochet looked good in their first WrestleMania. And the Usos retain. Because I guess some champions had to retain their titles here. But moving on to the next match, and which was a fantastic match. It was way better than it had any right to be. And that was Shane McMahon versus The Miz. Falls Count Anywhere. Just the hilarity of this match was just hilarious. It was very sports entertaining, which was expected from these two. Sorry for those yawns. It's just late, very late. as I'm sure many of you know. WrestleMania is such a long show. Recording this very late at night, midnight now. It's now Monday morning. But anyways, going back to this match, such a fun match. Early on, Shane's taunting Miz. He goes over. He just starts taunting him, and then he goes over to George, Miz, and of course Miz's dad. He goes over to them and just tries to grab his face again until Miz chases him off, but Shane gets the upper hand, and he just beats up Miz for a while, and he sets him up on the table, and George, he hops the barricade. Miz's dad hops the barricade. He gets in the way of Shane, who's on the top. He gets in the way of Shane, not allowing him to hit the dive. So Shane eggs him on to come in here, and so the Miz's dad gets in the ring, and I guess if you've been on Twitter or anything, you've seen the pics of the Miz's dad squaring up against Shane in his awkward little pose. Like, it's a bunch of memes already online of like the Avengers of Fallen meme. Avengers of Fallen. I saw a pic of that was hilarious. Or one of them had a caption of any man with two hands has a fighting chance. But anyways, George he just looked hilarious. This dude. The emotion in his face is non-existent, which makes it even more hilarious. This dude's like Linda McMahon when she was drugged by Vince. This dude has no emotion. His son's getting beat up, and his face just has no emotion in it at all, which makes it that much more hilarious. Even while squaring up against Shane in front of 80,000 people, this man looks like he couldn't care. He couldn't give any less of care in the world, which is fantastic. Credit to him. He made this match really funny. But anyway, it gets from Shane just knocks him down, and he starts kicking him and beating him up until Miz gets in the ring. He just beats the hell out of Shane. Miz gets the majority of the match from this point on. He just all over the arena. He beats him up from to the foreign announce tables. He goes over there. At one point, I think at one point he tries to attack Funaki. It was pretty hilarious, and they almost try to they destroy the tables that are there. It's funny seeing the ref Charles Robertson. He's trying to hold everything together so he'll knock everything over. Pretty funny to see that happen. Anyways, they just brawl all over the arena. Shane hits this DDT on this steel part. Miz hits a skull crushing finale on a platform. With Shane, of course, because Shane's the best wrestler in the world, he kicks out of. But they make their way around the arena over to this platform, which was for a camera. And as soon as they got there, I knew, okay, the finish is gonna be here. Shane is gonna die somehow. He's probably gonna jump off of this. But what they did, what I thought was much more creative and just a fantastic way to end this match. So basically, what happens is Shane climbs to the top. Miz climbs to the top behind him. It's a platform. It's an elevated platform. I think the commentary said it was 15 feet in the air, and there was railing on all sides except one, which is the side Shane was on, and Miz was just backing him into a corner until Shane just got down basically on his knees and started begging Miz for forgiveness. He's telling him he's sorry. Miz goes up to him. He says it's too late for this now. He hits Shane. And actually, he turns him around and he gets him in a suplex position, and at that point you can see the whole crowd stand up like, no way. And fantastic thing that it actually happened, because what Miz does is he gets him in the suplex position. He actually lifts him up, and they fall back. They plummet 15 feet or so through this. It was this weird little area that was there. It was probably heavily protected and stuff, probably cushions and stuff in there. They broke through this mat sort of thing, but I'm sure under that was air cushions and stuff to break their fall, because it was pretty high up and it's two dudes in a suplex position. A lot can go wrong. Miz looked very out of it after this spot actually, so I'm sure it wasn't the softest landing in the world. I'm sure they didn't just land on soft mattresses. But he hits that ginormous spot. And the camera, the way they shot it was fantastic too. You could really see how high it was. It really sold the elevation of the move and the spectacularity of it. And anyways, they get down. The camera gets down. Actually, before this, A little moment I forgot. They're at this railing part and like at an elevated area, and below it is the golf cart. And what Miz has like this sort of item in him that he's holding. And he hits Shane with it, and Shane comically jumps over the railing and lands on the golf cart. And, and that was just such a funny like oversell. It was fantastic. But anyway, back to the finish. Shane and Miz are both down on the ground, and well, because of the way you suplex someone, the way you hold someone, they were both down and out. But Shane, his head and his shoulders were on top of Miz, and so false count anywhere. The ref counted the pin, and Shane wins this match, which I think is a good thing because it didn't make Miz look weak at all. Miz basically won the match. And his downfall was basically him getting carried away. You know, he didn't have to hit that suplex. He could have just dropped Shane off the platform. But it was Miz's downfall was him taking it too far on Shane. And Shane, you know, gets to probably brag about how he's still the best in the world. And this is just a way for them to further their feud. It doesn't have any finality on the feud, which is great. So they can further it, as this feud's actually been pretty cool and a very entertaining feud. And then we get on to the, and this is all like in the first hour and a half of the show. It's a really good show up to this point. You know, none of these matches have been bad. I would say the worst match so far was the AJ and Orton match, but like I said, that match still told a really good story. You know, it was fantastic. It was just really fun to see. And not counting the kickoff show, of course. You know, Battle Royals are sometimes always fun, but they were just nothing matches and they were boring. But, anyways, moving on to another match. Sorry again for all those pauses for yawning. But I was gonna have to go through this card a little bit faster. We still have like 10 matches to go to how long the show was. Barely halfway through the show. We had the women's tag team titles up next. We had the champions Boston Hug Connection up against the Iconics, the Divas of Doom, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, and the Samoan Slaughterhouse, which is probably the worst name out of all of them. Maybe Boston Hug. I don't. Anyways, those two names are awful. All of them too. Honestly, the Divas of Doom is a terrible name as well. Iconics is alright, whatever. But those are three names are just terrible names. But anyways, this match, surprising ending, but was really fun. It was nonstop action, fast-paced match. Nia and Tamina were taken out early in the match, and it was just really a good showcase for Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix does not look great in this match. A lot of fun spots, a lot of fast-paced action. As I said, the match never let up. Sasha hit one of the worst frog splashes I've ever seen. She hardly did like the frog motion. She hit that, which is cool, I guess. There's a lot of cool tag team action. The Iconics were great in this match. I thought they were actually really, really good. And the match ends with Beth Phoenix. She's in the Iconics' corner, but the Iconics are down for now. Beth Phoenix gets Bayley. She goes to the second rope, and she sets her up for the Grand Slam. She goes for the Grand Slam from the second rope, but as she's going down, Peyton Royce tags her, tagging herself in. Beth hits the move. Bayley's down, but they throw out Beth, and the Iconics take the pin for the move, and they win. They pin Bayley, and they become the new tag team champions, which is pretty cool. The Iconics, they're the most like tag team like act, even though I kind of despise their promos. I think they're really annoying, honestly, when they cut promos, and the wrestling's not that good, but they still feel the most tag team like out of all four tag teams here. So it's great seeing them get a run with the titles, and it's going to be interesting seeing some heels get a chance with these titles, see who will chase after them. There's a lot of heel teams here, but I'd expect Boston Hug will go after them immediately after Mania, and then maybe they could have like a feud with Riot Squad and Fire and Desire and whoever else. Beth, if she's gonna stick around, I guess her and Natalya. But if like I've been predicting, if Kyrie and Io Shirai come up from NXT, I could see that like as Money in the Bank or SummerSlam match. That'd be fun to see. The Sky Pirates take the belts off of them at SummerSlam and Running the Bank or whatever pay-per-view they want to do it at. But going after that, the match of the night, in my opinion, the undoubtedly the peak of the night, emotionally, with the crowd response and everything, because it was like 2.5 hours into the main show, four and a half if you count the kickoff, and the crowd wasn't tired out yet. The main event, they were a bit tired out, but what do you expect? They've been there for 7.5 hours. But we had the WWE Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. They gave away the match outcome because they had the title on a pedestal, and you could clearly see that title is on top of another title, which of course had to be the old WWE Championship. And then Big E even had this box with him, and he would tell Kofi, "Oh, when you win, I'm gonna give you this." So of course you can't just do that and not have the match. But still, that didn't make this match any less good. And the near falls were still biting for the near falls and the submission attempts. Really, really good match. These two work really well together. I think they do. There's a lot of cool reversal spots from Daniel Bryan, especially. There's this really cool jumping knee that Kofi went for, and Bryan somehow reversed that into a Boston Crab, which is awesome. There was also just a lot of cool submission holds by Bryan. He went for a lot of Boston Crabs. He went for his label lock a lot. I think at one point he went for the surfboard stretch. Just a lot of cool offense like that, and Kofi played the babyface role so good. The crowd was really behind him. I think they were the hottest here for this match. They were the hottest in this match and then any other match in the night. And sorry for the yawns. And Kofi got a lot of breaking out of Daniel Bryan's submission attempts. He put him in a lot of label locks, and he'd beat the hell out of him. He'd give him forearms. Well, Kofi would just make the ropes. And then we come to the finish of the match. Kofi, after a few submission attempts, he gets hit with the running knee. He kicks out of that, and then he goes for the Trouble in Paradise on Bryan. He hits the Trouble in Paradise. I think it might have been the second one, or it was the first. But anyway, he hits that Trouble in Paradise, and he pins Daniel Bryan to become the new WWE champion. He's, I guess he's the first fully black, because I think The Rock is half black, but he is the first fully black African American WWE champion in history, which is just a really cool thing for him to happen. He celebrates in the ring. They reveal that the old title is back. They gave that to him, and he has his side plates on it already. And he brings in his kids. He celebrates with his kids and New Day in the ring. Big E opens the box. It has new merch, which I think someone said it got spoiled earlier. I think WWE.com, they actually put that merch, and the merch had it was a New Day and Kofi holding the title. I think they put that merch up a bit before the match even started, so they gave away the finish to that. But I guess everyone could have predicted this match, but nonetheless, it didn't ruin the quality of the match. This match was a fantastic match of the night easily. The crowd was just so much behind both these guys, in a bad way for Bryan. They booed him. They booed the hell out of him, which is crazy to think, because 5 years ago at WrestleMania 30, he was the most over guy in the company, in the wrestling industry. He managed to get a crowd excited and made a crowd super hype after the streak ending. How do you even do that? But it was just so cool seeing him booed out of the building here, and Kofi just having such a babyface pop, and it was just a really, really, really good match between these two, and it's really nice to see Kofi become the champion. Me being younger, 2009, I think around that era was Kofi who came in. I was still a kid. I was 8 in 2009, and so I've grown up seeing Kofi's career, and it's just really cool seeing now 10 years later, seeing him, or 11 years later, seeing him finally become the champion and him finally getting an opportunity and proving that he's deserving of the opportunity, because he had a fantastic match here, and he's had fantastic matches over the last months. He's just really, in this entire feud, proved that he deserved to be champion, and I hope this leads. This title run isn't just like a Rey Mysterio 2006 run, where it just becomes nothing and the champion just gets beat over and over, and he loses the belt quickly. Like right now, there isn't much heels on SmackDown, so I don't know who's gonna feud with besides Bryan immediately. But just like I said, Superstar Shakeup comes up. We don't know who's gonna be on the brand. So it's just gonna be exciting to see who his next opponent's gonna be. And it's like I said, really cool for Kofi. I really hope he gets an amazing run with the belt. And we had this little backstage segment. There's a lot of cameos tonight. Hulk Hogan made a cameo earlier in the night. We get this backstage segment with Alexa Bliss. She goes up to the Saturday Night Live guys who were like really injured and they're icing their wounds. They're in the the doctor's office or whatever, in the doctor's room, getting their injuries treated too. And Alexa just apologizes, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, our doctors are top quality. They'll take care of you." And the doctors who are in the background the whole time, they turn around. It's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. For some reason, they're doctors at WWE. I don't know if they have PhDs. Someone might need to check up on that. I guess this is the response to the John Oliver piece of him criticizing that wrestlers don't have health care. I guess this is a response to that, having Kevin Nash and Scott Hall give out free health care. And basically Kevin Nash just does the gimmick where he puts on the glove. He's like, why don't we start off with a prostate exam, as he stares down Michael Shane and Colin Jost. Pretty dumb little fun segment. It was entertaining at the very least, is what you could say. And then up next, shortest match of the night, United States Championship match. It was a squash match. Joe just came out. Ray, who's of course working injured, he twisted his ankle or something like that. He had an ankle injury on Monday in his match against Baron Corbin, so of course this match couldn't have gone long. I'm glad that it wasn't taken off the card, that Ray could still manage what the little he did, but I'm glad he could still manage that. Anyways, the match just starts off. Ray hits a 619. He goes up top for his splash. Samoa Joe catches him out of the air, gets him in a coquina clutch. Ray passes out. Joe wins. If Ray wasn't injured, I would have suspected this match would have got longer, and that somehow Dominic Ray's son would have been involved in some way. But still, this is Joe's first WrestleMania match. He comes out looking strong. He had a dominant performance over a big name like Rey Mysterio, and he retains his title. And it's cool for Joe, his first WrestleMania, being as dominant as he was. But moving on now, we go to the Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre match. Now this one, I think Drew is the first person that I can't remember. He had one of those WrestleMania special entrances. He has this entire Scottish band, I guess, just a bunch of Scottish performers with bagpipes and all that other stuff playing his theme song down to the ring, which is really cool. Really cool for Drew. But I guess this might have been one of the weakest matches of the card, because it wasn't bad per se. It wasn't bad in any means, but it felt more like just like a standard Raw match, especially with the finish. It was just, just two big guys going at it, hitting each other with powerful moves. Roman hit the Superman punch. He hit the spear. He gets the win. Of course, Roman wasn't going to lose. Roman came back from leukemia. This man just had cancer a few months ago. This man isn't going to lose on his big return match. He's not going to lose like that. So, it was what it was. It was an expected outcome, but it wasn't a bad one at all. Now, moving on to a hilarious segment between Elias. Elias came out for his concert. He does this little thing where on the Titantron he has pre-recorded videos of himself playing, and he performs with himself. He has a little band of him playing the drums and stuff, and the piano I think he had also. But he's doing his little performance, and then it cuts. It's really weird. It cuts on the Titantron to a a video package, I guess you could say, just a video of the Babe Ruth video of him calling his shot and hitting the home run. Cut to that for some reason. Honestly, I'm not sure. But it did that, and then it just cuts to the Word Life. It cuts to Word Life, John Cena's old theme, and he comes out as the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena, Word Life Cena, in his old, with the chain and everything and the jersey. Really cool to see Cena like this, being really, really small when he was like this. I was like 2 or something, but still, I have some memory of watching Cena as the Doctor of Thugonomics. Really cool seeing this. He gets in with Elias and he does a little rap segment with him. It just really reminded me of one of his old promos, one of his old rapping promos, which honestly I really love. I always remember that one he did with Kurt. The rap battle he did with Kurt Angle. That segment was just fantastic overall. But anyways, he just basically hits a diss track, makes a diss track on Elias. He just disses him. He gets a lot of those cheap pops like, John Cena, or Elias, you got a bad deal. Now you're gonna get John Cena going heel, and just a lot of funny little stuff like that. Yeah. And basically, I think he ends it with something rhyming with you, and then he's like, today you're not gonna get. Tonight I'm not hitting the AA, but you're gonna get the FU. And he beats up Elias and he hits the FU, I guess, as he's Dr. Thugonomics Cena, he's Word Life Cena, because back then that was his move. It was called the FU instead of the Attitude Adjustment, the AA. He hits the FU on Elias, and I guess he just goes away. Fun segment. Just so cool seeing Cena, even if he's not in the Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin match, which I would have loved, especially since he's Dr. Thugonomics, which is his debut gimmick, and he debuted against Kurt. Would have been cool to see him in that, but still fun nonetheless to see him do something on the show like that. And it's just a really entertaining segment overall. And then we move into the Batista and Triple H match, which no holds barred. Really, beginning was just a little bit boring, but still a little bit of a slow start. I guess you can expect that from these two guys, but it really, really picked up later on in the match when after a few weapons have been introduced and stuff. Triple H gets some pliers from somewhere. He gets these pliers. He gets in the ring. He sets up a chair on top of Batista. He's sitting on the chair on top of Batista, pinning down his arms so that Batista can't move. He has him trapped under the chair, and he grabs his pliers and he pulls out Batista's nose ring, which is just hilarious to see. And Triple H has it. They zoom in on him, and he's holding it in between his fingers, as a trophy. And commentary was putting it over huge, this is disgusting. And Batista's nose was bleeding and stuff. It was just pretty wicked seeing a spot like that. Reminded me a lot of the Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton spot where he put a screwdriver through his ear and twisted it. It reminded me a lot of that kind of spot. He just grabbed those pliers and yanked that nose ring out of Batista's nose. Batista's gonna have to do something about that. He's gonna have to put that thing back in. But anyway, they went on to the outside where they were brawling all around on the tables and stuff, throwing each other on tables. Batista, he sets up the steel steps on top of one table and he clears the other one. He gets up on the steps. He gets Triple H up there. He goes for a Batista bomb. Triple H hits a back chop on Batista. The tables during this match were steel reinforced, and they had a indestructible, guarantee on them or something, because these tables, this match just did not want to break. I think there's a few other spots. I think there's another backdrop that they did either earlier or later in the match. Table didn't break. Batista couldn't break the table here. So what they had to do instead is Batista got on top of one table, and Triple H was on the other. He ran across both tables and he speared him through the table. And they finally broke the table with that, with both of them going through. He needed both of them. He spears him through the table. They get back in the ring, and the steel steps are in the ring. Batista hits a powerbomb on those steps. or no, I read Batista's going for a powerbomb. Triple H reverses it, and they end up on the top where Triple H hits a powerbomb onto the steps, and then he hit the pedigree, and then Batista kicks out. And after I saw that kick out, I was like, holy crap, Batista's winning. Batista actually has a chance to win this match. But of course not. He hits a Batista bomb on Triple H. Triple H kicks out. They both get sledgehammers. They're about to duel each other. Ric Flair comes out. He distracts Batista for a little bit, which lets Triple H recover. He runs in with the sledgehammer. He does. The steps are still in the ring, and he runs and he gets on them. He jumps off them. He hits like a sort of a Superman punch, but with the sledgehammer. He hits Batista with the sledgehammer. Batista sells it awesomely. He like spins around. He's all groggy and stuff. He sells it awesomely. Triple H then just kicks him in the gut. Does the second. He hits him with the pedigree, and he puts away Batista with that. Really fun match by the end of this. I guess predictable outcome, but of course it was. Triple H isn't going to retire. Especially seeing how we had a retirement. We had a retirement in the next match, which was Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle, which wasn't much of a match. Pretty short match. And I'm just going to go straight to the finish because, like I said, it wasn't much. Kurt Angle looked better here than he did in the Raw and SmackDown matches. I'll say that. Especially because the finish, Kurt, hilarious. Everyone's cheering for Kurt, and then Kurt goes to the top rope, and you can audibly hear the crowd go like, oh shoot, no. They like start booing the idea of Kurt going to the top because Baron's laid out. He's laid out there, and they're like, oh no, Kurt, don't go up there. But anyways, Kurt goes up there. He hits an amazing moonsault. Yeah, actually, really good looking moonsault. He goes for it, I should say. He goes for the moonsault. Baron rolls out of the way, hits the end of days, and he pins him, which, not the kind of ending I would go for. Maybe I'd have Kurt win, but maybe Kurt wants to put the young guy over before he retired in his last match. So maybe that's something he wanted. Baron wouldn't have been my choice, but it is what it is. Baron gets the rub here. Maybe Baron goes on to compete for a world title or something. Now he has, he has a WrestleMania win under his belt, so that's something he can use to justify him getting a title shot. And then Kurt at the end of the match, he just gets the mic. He no-sells Baron's finish. He gets up like a minute after the end of days, and he gets on the mic. He says he thanks the crowd for everything, and he just asks for one more "You Suck" chant. They play his music. They get another "You Suck," and he walks to the back. So like I said, not what I would have done for Kurt Angle's retirement. A lot of people were disappointed with this. Of course, I would have preferred it to be John Cena, especially in the Dr. Thugonomics gimmick. I would have loved it to be that, but for what it was, I thought it was good enough. The match wasn't all that, but seeing Kurt hit a moonsault was great, and it was great just seeing Kurt go out on his own terms. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Great seeing him go out the way he did, even if it's not against the right opponent, putting over the new guy, I guess, and just going out on his own terms in a way when, like, even like 7 years ago, we all thought this dude was gonna die because of all the painkillers and stuff he was taking, and all the injuries he had sustained. Nice to know that he's able to end everything on his own terms. But anyways, after that, now we're down to the final two matches, and of course these were like the buffer matches, of course, to kind of get the crowd back up, or just to cool them off, I guess, which was the Demon Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley had contacts on, trying to be a demon himself, I guess. But this match was actually as short as it was, basically a squash. Not really a squash, because Bobby did get in some offense. But it was still it was an intense match. Bobby Lashley was really intense. The Demon was really intense, and he did something which I'm really happy he did. He actually used new moves, which I'm really glad. He did a lot of like flying kicks and a bunch of other type of kicks and stuff, which I'm really glad he used, because I just don't like it when he becomes a Demon and his moveset's the same. But it was actually intense. The intensity these two brought, it was great. And just Balor hits the coup de grace for the win, new IC champ. But I guess at this point, this is title number 6 that I changed. I guess because we had the cruiserweight, the Raw tag team, the women's tag team, the universal title the universal title, the WWE title, and then we had this match here, which would be the 6th belt. And then, of course, the main event, two titles changed hand because as we go into the main event, Becky Lynch won the tag teams, both the Raw and SmackDown tag championships, women's championships, and for the opening of this match, they all had this kind of sort of cool special entrance. Charlotte got to come in a freaking helicopter, which was dope. Really cool for her. Ronda got her entrance with the rock star lady. I can't remember her name. But she got a cool entrance. Becky got a cool entrance. Becky, of course, was the hottest one in this match. The crowd was really behind her. They popped for her entrance, for everything she did. And this match was main event worthy. It was actually a really, 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 really good match. If it wasn't for this finish, maybe I'd put this in the same level as Kofi and Bryan. But I think Kofi and Bryan, because of the finish and the way it ended, I think it was just a step above this match. But we'll get to the finish. But first, this entire match was actually really, really good. The action never stopped. It's a triple threat, so of course it was like the WrestleMania 20 triple threat, the forgotten one because WWE will never mention it, of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. And if you watch that match, that's like one of probably top 4, probably top 3 or 5 greatest WrestleMania main events, or maybe even matches of all time. That match was fantastic. The action just never let up. And in this match, it was similar. The action just never let up. All the women went for their signature moves. They all did a lot of brutal submissions. Charlotte would do like figure fours on Ronda under the using the apron, the steel ring post. Ronda would do double arm bars on everyone. She got Becky and Charlotte both in an armbar, and they the two of them powerbombed her like 3 times in a row until she finally let go, which is cool. Look, making Ronda look strong. But and then there was a table that they had set up in the corner that Charlotte tried to spear both of them through it, and they like shoved her into the table instead, and it did not break at all. It just refused to break. It just like creased. Like I said, it looked creased in the middle. Charlotte didn't really hit it with that much force. But the finish came when Ronda went for a Piper's Pit. Becky on Becky, and Becky reversed that into a crucifix pin, and she got the win off of that. And very interesting because, first of all, when the ref counted 1 and then into the 2, Ronda's shoulders weren't on the mat, so that was pretty bad from there. And then after the match, Corey was just talking a lot of how it wasn't a definitive finish, and Ronda's shoulders were up, and even Ronda too was selling it, how she thought her shoulders were up. And it was a weird finish. Why would you do that for the main event? But it had been actually reported that the finish, I'm not sure how true this was, but the finish was actually supposed to be her tapping out Ronda. And that was actually supposed to be the finish the finish we all wanted. That was supposed to be the finish, and this was actually a botch. Not sure whose fault it was. I guess the refs are told count to 3 no matter what, like to be actually be like real refs and do their job, I guess. And no matter what happened, you count the 3 if there's a 3 count. And I guess that's just what happened here. It's just an unfortunate scenario where maybe just Becky didn't let go. Ronda couldn't kick out. The ref maybe shouldn't have pinned that first one because Ronda's shoulders weren't down. I guess I just didn't give them enough time for Ronda to kick out. So it was very flat. The crowd didn't react at all because they were more confused. They were just didn't expect that to be the ending at all, and I didn't expect that to be either. There's not much of a pop in the arena, especially since they had already been there for hours and they were tired. But in the end, though, when Becky got the belt and she was celebrating the ring, the crowd got up. They got more hyped. A lot of pyro, and it was just really cool for the first ever WrestleMania. women's main event that it was a great match. Regardless of the finish, it was a great match, and it came out with the right person winning. Even though it was a botch, thankfully it was a botch in Becky's favor, and Becky won still. And it just had a really cool closing image of her, as you can see on the screen, of her holding up both championships, and just it gives this entire show gives the idea that there's actually a change and they're moving forward. They came out months and months ago saying there's going to be change in WWE, and after this WrestleMania, I actually think this might be the start of a new era, because Brock lost his title, he's out. Kofi won the championship. Seth won the championship. Iconics won this. A lot of titles changed hands. It seems like a reset. And then next week, we're going to get the Superstar shakeup. So brands, and maybe the NXT people are finally going to find a brand instead of floating between both rosters. And we're finally going to get a shakeup. Maybe the SmackDown Live women's the women's division will get better. And it's just exciting overall to see where they go after the show, because, like I said, a lot of titles change hands, and there's a lot of possibilities for the future. Now, regarding the women's main event, if Ronda's gone, then I don't know who Becky's going to feud with. I assume she's going to feud with either with Charlotte or Asuka, since Asuka actually beat her clean at the Royal Rumble, so maybe Asuka's going to beat her again for that SmackDown title, and then Becky's going to feud with Charlotte over on Raw. And that's just how it's going to work out. Or maybe Charlotte gets the SmackDown one back, and they just keep them separate. But anyways, that was the main event. Really good match. As unfortunate as the finish was, really good match. Great to see Becky. Becky's going to go down in history as the first ever women to main event WrestleMania and come out the winner. And the entire show was just, as long as it didn't feel as long as it actually was. It was just fun overall. Not a bad match. I wouldn't say there was a bad match on the card. There was maybe some that were mid or maybe a little bit boring at parts, but none of them were outright bad. And I guess that's just all you can ask for a show this long, with 15, 16, 17 matches, however much there was. But anyways, that WrestleMania was fun. WrestleMania 35 is going to go down in the books as a really enjoyable WrestleMania. If I would rate it out of 10, I guess this would be a 8 out of 10 WrestleMania. Had a lot of fun moments, very entertaining. Like I said, the best one since WrestleMania 31, easily. And it's exciting to see where the company is going to go from here. But anyways, guys, that's been the review. I'm your host, Mystic. If you like this video, please leave a like on the video, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to this channel for more content. I might be doing, not exactly sure if I'm going to do a Raw and SmackDown. Maybe I'll do one video on both. On Tuesday or on Wednesday night, I'll do a video for both Raw and SmackDown, recapping the Night After Mania shows and the Superstar Shakeup shows on the week after that. But anyways, just subscribe to this video for more content, for more podcasts like this, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.